My name is Sienna, and I'm 33 years old. I'm a music producer and the owner of Wavelength Studios, one of the most sought-after recording facilities in Los Angeles. Last year, I won Producer of the Year at the Music Production Awards. 3 of the songs I produced hit the Billboard Hot 100. My studio rate is $5,000 per day, and we're booked 6 months in advance. But 8 years ago, I was told I didn't belong in a recording studio. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. My dad was a mechanic. My mom worked at a grocery store. We didn't have much money, but we had music. My dad loved Motown. He'd play old records on weekend mornings. Marvin Gaye, The Supremes, Stevie Wonder. "Listen to that bass line, Sienna," he'd say. "Listen to how everything fits together." I started hearing music differently. Not just the melody or the lyrics, but the layers. The kick drum, the hi-hat, the way the vocals sat in the mix. At 15, I downloaded free production software. I started making beats on my laptop. Nothing fancy, just loops and samples. But I was obsessed. I'd spend hours tweaking EQ, adjusting compression, layering sounds. My friends thought it was weird. "Why don't you just sing? Girls who make beats are." Different. I didn't care. This was what I loved. By 18, I was good. Really good. I'd post beats online. Local rappers would message me asking to buy tracks. $20, $50. Small money, but it felt incredible. I enrolled at a community college for audio engineering, 2-year program. I learned the technical side. Signal flow, frequency ranges, mixing techniques. I graduated at 20 with an associate degree and a dream, to become a professional music producer. But the industry wasn't ready for me. At 21, I moved to Los Angeles. I had $2,000 in savings, a laptop with my production software, and a list of studios where I wanted to intern. Interning in music studios is how you break in. You work for free. You fetch coffee. You coil cables. You watch. You learn. And eventually, if you're good and lucky, someone gives you a shot. I applied to 15 studios. 12 never responded. 3 said they weren't taking interns. I kept trying. I worked as a barista during the day to pay rent. At night, I made beats and sent them to artists on SoundCloud and Instagram. At 23, I got my first real production credit. A local artist wanted a beat for their EP. I sold it for $300. The song got 10,000 streams on Spotify. Not huge, but it was something. More artists reached out. I built a small reputation. That producer Sienna makes fire beats. I started getting studio session invitations. Not as the producer, but as a co-writer or assistant. I'd sit in sessions, contribute ideas, learn from the engineers and producers running the boards. That's where I met James. James was 35, a veteran studio engineer. He'd worked at Sunset Sound Studios for 12 years. He knew every piece of equipment, every microphone, every compressor. He was respected in the industry, and he was a nightmare to work with. I was 27 when I got invited to a session at Sunset Sound. An up-and-coming R&B artist named Kira wanted me to produce a track for her debut album. It was my biggest opportunity yet. The session was booked for 8 hours. Studio A, the best room in the building. I arrived early, nervous but prepared. I had my laptop, my MIDI controller, my headphones. I'd spent weeks preparing a demo beat for Kira to hear. James was the engineer assigned to the session. When I walked in, he looked surprised. "You're the producer?" "That's me." He looked me up and down. "How old are you?" 27. You look younger. Have you worked here before?" "No, this is my first time at Sunset Sound." "Right." He turned back to the mixing console. "Well, I run a tight ship. Don't touch anything without asking. Stay out of my way." Kira arrived 30 minutes later with her manager. She was warm, excited. "Sienna, I love the demos you sent. Let's make something amazing. We started working. I played her the beat I'd prepared. She loved it. We started building the arrangement, adding layers, tweaking sounds. I asked James to adjust the headphone mix for Kira. He did it, but slowly, like it was an inconvenience. An hour in, I wanted to record a vocal take. I walked up to the console to set the levels. James stopped me. "What are you doing?" "Setting the input level for the mic." "That's my job. You're the producer. Stay on that side of the glass." "I know how to set levels." "I don't care. This is my board. Don't touch it." I stepped back. Fine. I'd work around him. We recorded Kira's vocals. She nailed the first verse. I wanted to add some auto-tune for effect. Not heavy, just a touch. I asked James, "Can you add some auto-tune? Just a subtle amount on the chorus." He sighed, annoyed. "Auto-tune? Really?" "Yes. It's an artistic choice." "Sure, whatever." He added it, but incorrectly. "Too much. It sounded robotic." "That's too much. Can you dial it back?" "This is what auto-tune sounds like." "I know what auto-tune sounds like. I use it all the time." "That's not the sound I want." He turned in his chair, fully facing me now. "Listen, I've been doing this for 12 years. I know sound engineering. Maybe you should stick to what you know." "I know production and sound engineering. I have a degree in audio engineering." "A degree doesn't mean you understand how a real studio works. Women don't understand sound engineering. It's technical. It requires precision. You're wasting studio time." The room went silent. Kira looked uncomfortable. Her manager looked shocked. I felt my face flush. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. This session is running over because you don't know what you're doing. I've seen this before. Female producers who think they can do this job. You can't. Stick to singing or something." I stood up. "I'm not wasting anyone's time. I'm trying to create the song Kira hired me to produce. You're the one being difficult. Get out." "What?" "Get out of my studio. This session is over. I'm not wasting any more time on this." "This isn't your studio. It's Sunset Sound Studio. I booked this session. And I'm the engineer. And I say we're done. Leave." Kira stood up. "Wait, James. This is my session." "Then find another engineer. I'm not working like this." He walked out. Just left. I stood there, stunned, humiliated, furious. Kira's manager made some calls. They couldn't get another engineer on short notice. The session was over. Kira apologized. "Sienna, I'm so sorry. That was completely unprofessional. Let's reschedule at a different studio." But the damage was done. I left Sunset Sound feeling destroyed. That night, I cried. Not just because of what James said, but because it wasn't the first time. And I knew it wouldn't be the last. The music industry was full of men like James. Men who didn't think women belonged in technical roles. Who saw female producers as novelties. Who questioned our knowledge, our skills, our right to be there. But I didn't quit. I couldn't. I rescheduled the session with Kira at a smaller, independent studio. Different engineer, professional, kind. We finished the track. It came out beautifully. The song was released as a single 3 months later. It got 500,000 streams in the first month. Kira's fan base loved it. She credited me as the producer on social media. "Sienna is a genius. Can't wait to work with her again." More artists reached out. I started getting consistent work. Not big names yet, but solid mid-level artists. R&B singers, indie pop acts, hip-hop artists who wanted melodic beats. I worked out of small studios, home studios, anywhere that would have me. I built my reputation one song at a time. At 29, I produced a track for an artist named Zara. It was a breakthrough. The song got playlisted on Spotify's New Music Friday. 2 million streams in the first week. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know who produced it. Sienna. That's who. By age 30, I was established. Not famous, but respected. My production style was recognizable. Lush soundscapes, tight drums, melodic but with edge. I started getting calls from bigger artists, major label projects, higher budgets, better studios. But I was always the only woman in the room. The only female producer in sessions with 5 male engineers and songwriters, and I still faced the same bullshit. Producers questioning my technical knowledge, engineers treating me like an assistant, A&R executives asking if I was someone's girlfriend. Are you here with the producer? I am the producer. Oh, you look so young. Every single time. But the music spoke for itself. The tracks I produced performed well. Artists came back for more. I was building something. At 31, I produced a song that hit the Billboard Hot 100, number 67. Not a smash, but it charted. I'd officially made it, and I started thinking bigger. I didn't want to just produce music. I wanted to own the process. Control the environment. I wanted my own studio. At 32, I took the biggest risk of my life. I used every dollar I'd saved, $200,000 from years of production work, and took out a loan for $300,000 more. I bought a small commercial space in Burbank. 2,000 square feet. It needed work, soundproofing, acoustic treatment, equipment. I spent 6 months building it, designing the control room, installing the mixing console, wiring the patch bay. Every detail mattered. I named it Wavelength Studios. It wasn't the biggest studio in LA, but it was mine, my rules, my space, my vision. I hired a staff. A younger engineer, fresh out of audio school who was brilliant and humble. A studio manager to handle bookings. An assistant to keep things running smoothly. We opened in March. I charged $2,000 per day, competitive but not cheap. The first month was slow. A few bookings, mostly artists I'd worked with before who wanted to support me. But word spread. Sienna's studio is dope. The sound quality is incredible. She actually listens to what you want. By month 3, we were booked solid. By month 6, I raised the rate to $3,000 per day. Still fully booked. Artists loved working there. It felt different. Welcoming, collaborative. No egos. No condescension. Just great music. And then one day, I got an email that made me smile. From James Mitchell. Subject, studio inquiry. I stared at the email for a full minute before opening it. James. The engineer who kicked me out of Sunset Sound 5 years earlier. I clicked it open. Hello, I hope this email finds you well. My name is James Mitchell. I'm a studio engineer with over 15 years of experience. I'm currently seeking new opportunities in the Los Angeles area. I came across Wavelength Studios and was impressed by your facility and reputation. I'd love to discuss a potential position as a staff engineer or freelance hire for sessions. I've attached my resume. I'm available for an interview at your convenience. Best regards, James Mitchell. I read it twice. Then I laughed. A bitter, disbelieving laugh. James had no idea. He didn't remember me. Or maybe he remembered the incident but didn't realize I was that Sienna, the one he humiliated 5 years ago. I looked him up. His LinkedIn showed he'd left Sunset Sound 2 years earlier. He'd worked freelance at various studios since then. No permanent position. His Instagram showed fewer and fewer posts. Older equipment, smaller studios. He was struggling. And now he wanted to work for me. I could have ignored the email, deleted it, moved on. But I didn't. I replied, James, thank you for your interest in Wavelength Studios. I'd be happy to interview you for an assistant engineer position. Please come to the studio this Thursday at 2 p.m. Best Sienna. I didn't mention assistant engineer in his email, but that's what I offered, not lead engineer. Assistant. Thursday came. James arrived at 2 p.m. sharp. He walked into the lobby, looking around at the space. Modern design. High-end equipment visible through the control room window. Gold and platinum records on the walls. He checked in with my studio manager. I'm here for an interview with Sienna. Right through that door, he walked into my office. When he saw me sitting behind the desk, his face changed. Confusion, then recognition, then something like dread. Sienna? James. Good to see you again. He stood in the doorway, frozen. You own this studio? I do. Have a seat. He sat down slowly, like he was trying to process it. So, I said, looking at his resume. 15 years of experience. Impressive. It says here you worked at Sunset Sound for 12 years? Yes. I was the lead engineer there. Past tense. You left? I moved on. Freelance work. How's that going? He shifted in his chair. It's been challenging. The industry is changing. A lot of younger engineers. It's competitive. I see. And now you're looking for a staff position? Yes, I saw that Wavelength has an excellent reputation. I thought I could contribute. What position were you hoping for? Lead engineer? Or senior engineer? Whatever you call it here. I leaned back in my chair. I'm afraid we don't have any senior positions available, but we do have an assistant engineer opening. Assistant? Yes, helping with session setup, cable management, mic placement, coffee runs, entry-level work. His face reddened. I have 15 years of experience. I'm not an assistant. Well, that's the only position we have. Are you interested? He stared at me. I could see him processing. He needed the job, but his pride was fighting it. Look, Sienna, I know we had a disagreement at Sunset Sound. That was years ago. A disagreement? You kicked me out of a session I booked. You told me women don't understand sound engineering. You humiliated me in front of my client. He opened his mouth, closed it. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. No, you shouldn't have. I'd like to apologize. I was dealing with a lot back then. Stress. Personal issues. It wasn't about you. It absolutely was about me. It was about me being a woman in your studio. You didn't question my knowledge or my work. You questioned my right to be there? I know. And I've changed. The industry has changed. I respect female engineers now, I swear. You respect female engineers now? How gracious. He looked down. I let the silence sit. James, here's the situation. I run this studio. I built it from nothing. It's successful because I created an environment where people, all people, are treated with respect, where talent matters more than gender. I understand. I'm offering you a job as an assistant engineer, $15 an hour. You'll report to our lead engineer who is 24 years old and has half your experience. You'll do whatever she asks. And you'll be professional. No ego, no attitude. $15 an hour? That's entry level. Yes. I made $60 an hour at Sunset Sound. Then you should have been more careful about who you kicked out of sessions. He stared at me, realizing, understanding. Do you want the job, James? A long pause. I could see him fighting with himself. Pride versus necessity. Finally, when do I start? Monday, 7 a.m. James started Monday. He showed up on time, looking uncomfortable in jeans and a plain t-shirt instead of his usual studio blacks. Our lead engineer, Maya, was 24. Brilliant, kind, patient. She assigned James his tasks. Can you set up mics in Studio B? We have a vocal session at 10. I need a Neumann U87 and a pop filter. I know how to set up vocal mics. Great. Let me know when you're done. He did it. Correctly. professionally. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched him work. He was competent, technically skilled, but you could see it killed him to take orders from someone half his age. He coiled cables. He fetched lunch. He adjusted mic stands. The work he used to make interns do. Some days, I'd walk past and see him in the live room, moving equipment, while Maya sat at the console running the session. The role reversal was complete. Artists came in. Some recognized him. "Wait, aren't you James? From Sunset Sound?" "Yeah, I'm freelancing now." Cool. They didn't understand why he was doing assistant work. He didn't explain. After 3 weeks, James asked to speak with me. "Sienna, can I talk to you?" "Sure, what's up?" I wanted to say, "Thank you for giving me this job. I know I didn't deserve it." "You're right, you didn't. I've been thinking about what happened 5 years ago. Every day since I started here, and I realize now how damaging it was. Not just to you, but to other women I probably treated the same way." "Probably?" "Definitely, I did. I thought I was protecting the integrity of the studio, but really, I was just protecting my ego." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I want you to know I've learned. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve that, but I want to do better." I looked at him. He seemed genuine, but I'd heard apologies before from men like him. "James, I appreciate you saying that, but words don't mean much in this industry. It's about actions. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Keep learning. Maybe one day you'll actually believe what you're saying." He nodded. "I will." At 33, 3 years after opening Wavelength Studios, I was nominated for Producer of the Year at the Music Production Awards. I'd produced 4 songs that year that had commercial and critical success. 2 hit the Billboard Hot 100. 1 was nominated for a Grammy. The ceremony was held in Los Angeles. Black tie, industry veterans, legends. I sat in the audience wearing a custom gown, surrounded by my team. Maya was there, my studio manager, artists I'd worked with. James wasn't there. I hadn't invited him. He was still at the studio, working a session. When they announced my category, I felt my heart race. And the winner is Sienna, for her work on. I won. I walked onto the stage in disbelief, accepted the trophy, gave a speech. "Thank you. This means more than you know." To everyone who told me I didn't belong in a studio, who questioned my technical knowledge, who thought women couldn't do this job. This award is proof that talent has no gender. Thank you to everyone who believed in me. The room erupted. Standing ovation. Backstage, reporters asked questions. "What's next for you? Who do you want to work with?" "I want to keep building, keep creating, keep proving that women belong everywhere in music production." The next day, my phone was flooded. Congratulations from artists, producers, engineers, and one message stood out, from James. "Congratulations, you deserve this. Thank you for letting me witness greatness." I didn't reply, but I didn't delete it either. I'm 33 now. Wavelength Studios is thriving. We've expanded to a second location. I've produced over 100 songs. I've won multiple awards. I started a mentorship program for young female producers. Free workshops, studio time, guidance. Because I remember what it's like to have doors closed in your face. James still works at Wavelength. He's been promoted to junior engineer. He earns $30 an hour now. He's humble, professional, respectful. Some people think I'm cruel for keeping him at entry level for so long. But I'm not punishing him. I'm teaching him. He stayed because he's learning something he never learned in 15 years at Sunset Sound. Respect. Last month, he assisted on a session I was producing for a major artist. Afterward, he thanked me. "Sienna, watching you work. I finally understand. It's not about gender. It's about skill, vision, work ethic. You have all of that. I should have seen it 5 years ago. You should have." For what it's worth, I tell young engineers now, never underestimate anyone, especially not women. Some of the best producers I've worked with are women. Some? He smiled. All of them. That's growth. Slow, painful growth. But growth. As for me, I'm just getting started. I'm producing a debut album for a major pop star. I'm expanding Wavelength to Nashville. I'm building a production company. And every time I walk into my studio, past those gold records on the wall, I remember that session at Sunset Sound. James's words. Women don't understand sound engineering. I think about 19-year-old me, making beats on a laptop in Detroit. 23-year-old me, selling beats for $20. 27-year-old me, getting kicked out of a session. And 33-year-old me, producer of the year. The journey wasn't easy, but it was worth it, because I didn't just prove James wrong. I proved every person wrong who thought women didn't belong behind the board. And the best part? James works for me now. Game over. I won.